we've targeted both of them. Daniel Jebbison was somebody that I knew of from my time in England. And when I knew that he had potential to be a Canadian national team player, it was one of the first dual nationals that I reached out to. And we've had a lot of good dialogue over the past 10 months. And, we've gotten to the point where we finally have secured him in his one-time transfer. So actually, when we released the squad on Monday, we weren't. It wasn't cleared yet. And then in the last 24 hours, basically, we've gotten his clearance for his change of association. So he's officially ready. And then Promise David has obviously had a great year at Union Saint-Gilloise. And I visited him. He and I have been in a lot of contact over the last 4 or 5 months. I've watched him. We've talked a lot about his progress there. He's excited about joining the Canadian national team. And so I think both of these two are big talents. I think they fit the way we play. And I think, now when you look at our overall depth of attacking options, it's a pretty strong group. And clearly the breadth of the overall squad has grown a lot, even in the time that I've been here for 10 months. So we are really excited about this group. We are really excited about the options we have at different positions, the flexibility, the positional flexibility we have within this team, the high-level talent we have within this team, and the overall depth of the squad. So I think this is the strongest that Canadian soccer national team has ever looked, and we're excited for the challenge of what next week will bring. Well, I think that's one of the keys here is we don't have a lot of training for this camp. Okay, we arrive. Most people will arrive on Monday. Then we quickly have to rearrange and be ready to turn around and play on Thursday. So there isn't a lot of time to integrate everybody and get everybody up to speed. So it even had a little bit to do with our overall selection and how many players that have been part of this and been around and are ready for what the challenges will be in this semifinal and hopefully final of this tournament. So in general, I think I've also met with them in the past month and sat down with them and talked about tactics and talked about how we try to play and talked about what their roles would look like. So we need them to assimilate quickly, and clearly we'll need the entire player pool to help that process of assimilating them into who we are as a team, what our mentality is, what our character and overall energy of the group is, and then on the pitch how we try to play. But the reason why I've hunted them so heavily is because I really believe that they will fit what we do very well, and that they'll assimilate quickly. So yeah, I mean, in the end, it's we'll be ready to insert them into games, right, and see how they do and give them a chance to show what they're about. And clearly both are highly talented players, and specifically Promise is in a really good form. So yeah, we're excited to get both of them in. Yeah, Max is in full training this week. He sat out of the squad the last 2 weekends, but he's really close to 100%, and he'll be ready to come in. Dane's obviously had some really good performance to start the year, but we'll make that decision once everybody gets in and just see how everybody's doing. We only have a couple days to train, but we'll get everybody into training and just kind of get a sense of where everybody's at and the fitness-wise, sharpness, and then make a decision on what's best for the match. Look, we've since he and Sam were injured, we've been really close with the clubs and with the players about what's been happening. Sam was ruled out relatively quickly, that his injury was going to be at least a month long. So then we knew that was going to be unlikely. And then Richie, he's still in the research phase of identifying exactly what the issue is and exactly what the protocol and diagnosis will be for how to get him recovered. We want to give him every chance available to be healthy and ready to go. It could be a little bit of a long shot. We'll wait and see exactly. He's feeling really good, and we're trying to, for Toronto, we're all trying to make a decision that's best for Richie. But, we're also prepared that if we have to make a change, that we can make a change, and that if he's not quite ready and healthy and ready to train and play in these matches, that we'll be ready to pivot. So, but again, the main focus is that we just want to give Richie every opportunity possible to get himself ready. Yeah, I think first of all, Daniel has massive potential. We can see that. And he's still a little raw and developing into the potential of what he can be. But his mentality to learn, to grow, to push, his desire to be part of this national team, I think is at a really high level. And I'm super excited to get him involved. Yeah. Is he a complete 90 minutes game fit, game sharp, and all those things? No. But I do think that he can be a really important player for us moving forward, and certainly looking toward 2026. And it was important to get him acclimated and assimilated into our group for me as quickly as possible. So, it's a big moment for the team. I know that just speaking to the guys, how excited they are for these matches. But when I'm always looking at the balance of what's necessary for each window and for each match, and then having a long-term approach in view for what's going to be most helpful and necessary for this team come next summer, I'm always trying to get that balance right with all the selections we've made and make sure that we have a squad that can continue to push and develop. And I feel really strongly that this group is exactly that. And so there's a couple guys that we know, like Schaff and Matthew Chouanier, that aren't fully 100% fit and healthy and sharp, but we still think they're incredibly important. Tajon's getting himself back, and getting him more minutes will be important as we continue to move forward. But when you look at the whole group, a lot of guys have had great years, are in really good form. We have a really good understanding of who we are and how we want to play, and we're super excited. Yeah, I think they both look like themselves, which is the best thing about both of the moves that they've made. So Ishmael's had a couple of starts, and Tajon's more been used off the bench, but both now look like they are bringing the qualities and the aggressiveness and the self-belief that they have, and I think that's been a really important development for both of them. So we'll have to continue to push them in their club lives, and so that they continue to establish themselves at the highest level, and that will be the most important thing looking toward 2026. But we've been in contact with all these guys about their overall fitness, making sure that their plans and that their awareness of what's going to be necessary when we all get together in a week, that this hasn't just been about communicating with them over the last 2 weeks. This has been about the last months, making sure that we have good dialogue, that Pierre Berrieux has been in touch with them and their fitness coaches and their medical teams to make sure that all these guys are giving themselves the best chance to be as close to 100% fit and sharp as they can be for these matches. No, look, it's a big factor, but I think that our players relish these environments. I mean, if you look at Copa America, it was another situation where every match was a away match. And so even in my time here as national team coach, we've had really 2 home matches, and that's it. And I would argue that we've had a lot of really good matches in the US in hostile environments. And maybe this will be the biggest one that we've experienced yet, because we know how passionate Mexican fans are for their national team, how supportive they are, but also they can be pretty critical of the national team as well. And so our job, I think, will be to make sure that we have a good start in the match, that we play the way we want to play, that we have confidence and belief in what we're doing, and that we challenge the Mexican team in all ways. A really good team, right? A team that we have a lot of respect for. But we're, I think, super excited for the challenge, to be in the environment, to know that we're going to have our backs against the wall. All these things will be important for us, and I know our guys will be ready. I've gotten a lot of these questions, and even when we were playing Suriname, right? Like, we're not playing in these matches with anything other than the idea that we want to win, right? But it's really important for us to just squarely be focused on Mexico on this Thursday match. And we have such a high level of respect for them. I think Javier Aguirre has done a really good job with the team. Again, the crowd will be massive. It will be energy. It will be, an opponent that also wants to win with everything they have. Because for both of us, we think now that we're in a good way, that this is a big opportunity, that the U.S. has won this all 3 times. And so this first match Thursday, we'll have to put all our energy, focus, and concentration on exactly what it's going to require. Then we can start to talk on Friday what Sunday can look like, but we're focused squarely on Thursday. I'm always making decisions on the potential of each individual and where they are in their overall development path, and then what it means to the balance of the group as a whole, and what we need in each window, and then what the outlook will be like as we look forward 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, all of this. And so, you know, like guys like Jonathan Osorio, guys like Nico Segur, guys like Ishmael, guys like Tanny. There's certain players that we have in the squad that their flexibility means that we can kind of cover different positions in different ways, and know that even though when we put the whole schematic together, it looks like 2 players at each position with 3 goalkeepers, that we know that we have a little bit more cover because of the flexibility in which way we can use different players, and we can cover what we need. And then you try to look at the opponents and anticipate what the games are going to look like, and then try to build in a few special players that you think can complement the overall squad for whatever we might require in these matches. So that's what went into this. And yeah, I mean, I could go down the list of different guys. Nathan Saliba, I could say Theo Bair, I could say Kamal Miller, I could go Jaden Nelson's in a really good way. I mean, there's a bunch of guys that I could keep going down the list and say, yeah, we had really tough discussions about what will we need, who should be involved, and what does it need to look like. And the good thing is that this is the hardest squad that I've had to put together. And that's a great development for us, that we're leaving quality players in good form off the list right now because we have so many options. So that was my goal when I first started this project. And it's good to already be in a place where we feel like we have a bigger pool than just 11, 15, 20 guys. Look, I think Ishmael knew that he needed a different situation because he wasn't able to establish himself in Marseille for various different reasons. And when looking at what potential moves were going to be out there, he knew he had to play. So between his agent, myself, and Ishmael, we had a lot of different discussions. We were very communicative and supportive with each other. And what I like about now his time at Rennes, even though he hasn't played every minute, is they're using him in ways that I think are best for him. And he looks like himself. Like he looks like the Ishmael again, with confidence and belief and the desire to go after the game and get on the ball and make a difference. And we know that this is the kind of quality and talent he has. So for me, this has been a really good move for him and a good development. He's certainly going to come into camp now with, I think, confidence and fitness and sharpness and be ready to go. And he's going to be a guy, I think, that's going to play a big role in these matches. I think he just needs to keep doing what he's doing. First of all, I love how Vancouver's played so far this year. I think they've shown that at the start of the season, they look like one of the best teams in MLS. I think they're playing more aggressive. It's a style of football that I think is more transferable to what we're doing with the national team. So I'm really happy to see that. And I think Jaden, after some tough experiences in Europe, where we were still watching him all the time and evaluating where he was at, has now come to a team that I think has pushed him in all the right ways, that accesses and uses his talents in the right ways. I think he's been aggressive. He's been dynamic. He's been very good around the goal with some assists and a goal. So look, this was another long discussion about, is it time to bring him in now or do we wait until summer? So regardless, he just needs to keep doing what he's doing and continue being aggressive and sharp. And he's going to get his opportunities to show what he can do with the national team. I have no doubt. The way he plays, he fits really well with the things that we do. So, you know, it's not his time right now, but I think this summer we'll be looking at him.
Before we go to the next question, it's Lille 1, Dortmund 0, and who else but Jonathan David to start.
Johnny David, baby. Good update, John. First of all, I think he's playing incredibly well at Porto. And they've used him at different spots. I mean, he had one game he even played center back. But for me, he's been aggressive. He's been sharp. He's been a leader for Porto. I think he's establishing himself in that team. And then when you just talk about what Steph means to us, like he's one of the most mature, clear guys in the group. He is so motivated for the team. His vision of what to expect from his teammates, from himself, what he gets out of himself in training every day and his teammates, and then what he brings on the pitch every day. Like he's a great leader, a great player, and I think he's continuing to develop and show in all ways that he still has a lot of potential and even a bigger upside. So look, he's very important to us, very important from a mentality perspective and from a player and talent perspective. So Yeah, a lot of these guys are in great form, and no doubt Steph is one of them. Look, I've in the 2011 Gold Cup final, it was U.S. Mexico, and that it was at the Rose Bowl, and it was probably 99,500 Mexicans and 500 Americans, and I think SoFi will be a version of that. Now, I do think with the current international political climate that there will be some mutual respect for both Mexico and Canada and the situations that we find ourselves in. And then I think, speaking to Javier Aguirre, that the respect that he and I have for each other and the respect that he and I have for the football and the teams that each other have means that this game is going to be spirited, but I think in all good ways. I think it'll be, as much as it'll be a hostile environment, and we know that Mexico will have a lot of fans, I think that it will be a really hard fought but respectful match between two really good opponents, and one that'll test us both. Like, Mexico does some really good things. They have some really talented players. And I think that we have some really talented players and we do some really good things. And so both teams, I think, will be trying to really put an imprint on the way that they want the game to be played. And it'll be now which team can ever, over 90 minutes, really now control the tempo and the way that the game is played and the way that the game is pushed, that team will find a way to come out and be the winner. And so we want that to be us. And listen, from the start, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to go after them. We're going to play the game, try to play the game on our terms. And we're really excited about this challenge. Yeah, look, obviously Steph's had the most minutes, but I think Ishmael is now emerged and looked really sharp. So that's really good. Bringing Matty Chouanier is based on the fact that I think he's an important guy. Like, he's an important guy for the future. I think he really fits with everything that we're doing. He's a really intelligent player. He has a lot of qualities that fit into the way we want to play and the balance that we need in the midfield. And then also winds up being a guy that we can use in the 6, in the 10, in the second striker position. So he gives us a lot of flexibility. And look, don't forget about Nico Segur, right? Nico with Split now has played right back, 6, 8, and right midfield. So he's also a guy that I think gives us a lot of support, and he's clearly 90 minutes fit and having a really good season at Hajduk Split. So he becomes a guy that could even be potentially someone we could use from the start. So again, we have really, as a manager, this is exactly the kind of position you want to be in, specifically with a national team, where you can call in a lot of players that you know you can trust and that are in a good way, that understand how we want to play, that fit the way we want to play. Like, we're in a really good spot and the best spot from a squad perspective that we've been in since I've been here.